everybody, it's Josh Ellsworth, and welcome to our Heat Press for Profit Live. We thank you so much for those that are watching on YouTube or LinkedIn or over on Facebook, wherever you're watching. We thank you for joining us live. And for those that are listening, we do this show live every Friday at noon Eastern time, where we talk to other apparel decorators like you or industry experts with the whole goal of helping you to be successful, reach your goals, and grow your business. And so this episode I am very excited for, because we have a customer in that actually joined me on the podcast on my first go round many years ago. And so we're going to catch up with her again. And she's been up to some new and exciting things, particularly in the fitness market. And there's so much we're going to learn today from Milissa. So let's welcome in Milissa Marshall from Brag Swag. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, everyone. Hey, Josh. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So when you volunteered, I guess, or maybe we coerced you to come on to the show, I was super excited because we had a great conversation many years ago about your business. And I understand your business is growing, and you're actually a owner of multiple businesses now. So
yes,
you give us a little background.
I'm apparently a serial entrepreneur, unbeknownst to me, and certainly not something I expected to be, but here we are. So yes, the last time we talked, I had Brag Swag, of course, but I now have, in addition to Brag Swag, another business. It is called Dazzling Diva Fitness, and we are a pole fitness and aerial fitness studio.
Awesome. And so we're going to dive in to some conversations about kind of where apparel decoration and Brag Swag meets your studio, and hopefully take away some lessons learned in case other entrepreneurs that are listening want to figure out, one, how they can go and approach other like businesses in their market, or perhaps an entirely different market, and how they can really get inside the mind of the decision maker at the business or the market that they are wanting to approach. So should be a lot of fun, but some people are shouting out. So I want to encourage you guys, if you're watching live, make sure you say hello. I love to see people watching. So Darren's watching from Kansas today.
Hey, Darren.
We got Mike representing Canada.
Hi, Mike.
Sup, Mike. Got Craig connecting from Boston. Actually, I had just a guest from Boston this morning from the impression shows that came in and toured our Stahls decoration facility.
Cool.
And looks like we're calling Baton Rouge. Good to see you, Dawn. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Dawn.
New Jersey.
I'm pretty sure that Garth Brooks sang a song about Baton Rouge.
Yeah, calling Baton Rouge. You caught the reference there? Yeah. That's probably, I'm not a karaoke guy, but that's probably one of the few songs in my life history that I've ever sang karaoke. And luckily it was before videos and lives were a big thing. So
hey, I see a future podcast episode for you, Josh.
Yeah, calling Baton Rouge. Let's go. All right. So anyways, thank you everybody for joining. We got a good crew on. I want to make sure we shout out our viewers from LinkedIn as well. Ray, thanks for joining us. So I guess just let's start on the fitness side, because I think that's interesting, is you acquired a new business. And I know there are many entrepreneurs watching that have either acquired their business or are thinking about maybe succession planning for their business or acquiring another business. And so how did this opportunity present itself? Give us a little historical context on the fitness studio.
Sure. So the studio actually opened under the original ownership in, I believe it was late 2008. So quite a few years ago. And I became a client of the studio at that time and remained a client for many years. And then in late 2019, the owner decided that it was time to take their life in another direction, and they were going to close the studio. So I was devastated. Like pretty much everyone who was going to the studio was devastated, because it was such a community, and it had become such a big part of so many people's lives, myself included, for sure. And it really was, I don't know what your personal experience has been with fitness facilities or gyms or the folks listening, but it was so much more than just a workout. It really was a community, and people knew your name, and they knew, hey, why isn't Milissa in class tonight? If you weren't there, it was noticed. So
Mm.
The relationships were really a huge piece of it. Not to mention, it is an awesome and killer workout, but I just couldn't bear the thought of this, presence that had been a part of my life for so many years not being there anymore. And so I wasn't looking for another business opportunity. I had no idea what I was doing. I had zero experience being a business owner other than Brag Swag, which of course is a home-based business, an e-commerce business. Very different than having a fitness facility where you have clients that are coming in on a regular basis. You have obviously a facility that has rent and all kinds of other
Right.
things that, you know, so I really didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I knew that, with my husband's constant support, we agreed that we could see if we could make this a go. And I'm very happy to say that nearly 3.5 years later, I should mention that I did take over the fitness studio 6 months before COVID hit.
Mm.
So that was a whole nother, no, obviously no one could have anticipated the global pandemic, but to have just taken over a business and you're just trying to kind of learn your way and figure things out, and then to have something like that happen, that was very challenging. And I could certainly speak more to that if you wanted to, but we don't need to delve into all that. But anyway, getting back to what I was starting to say, is I'm very happy to say that almost 3.5 years later, the business has grown by leaps and bounds, and I am just coming off of the most successful month to date last month.
Okay.
So
And so like there's a secret sauce there, right? On why.
yeah,
So what are the things you attribute that are maybe can be translated to any type of business that you feel like you've been able to harness and do well, um, that you would call out for folks?
I think that's a great question, Josh. And sometimes I ask myself, when I see that things are going in a really positive direction, it's like, let me think back. What have I done? Have I done anything different? Like, I need to know what that is. But to be perfectly honest with you, I don't feel like there's necessarily one specific thing. I think it's really cultivating that community. Um, we have a private Facebook group for our members that's very active. We share a lot of, videos from during classes, photographs of people accomplishing moves that they've been working on. We have social events outside of the studio. So really, I feel like when I was saying to you earlier why the continuation of this business was so important to me was not only the fact that I love the workout, but it was just truly this community of people that know each other and care about each other. And it was so much more than just, people that you pass
Yeah.
on your way into or out of going to do your workout. So I really
Yeah.
feel like cultivating that community has been the secret sauce, as you said.
Okay. Awesome. Love that answer. And so I've seen it time and time again that merchandise that
Hmm.
decorated or branded apparel really helps people to tie an association with something or really wear something that they're proud of. And so it's really not
Absolutely.
surprising that if you find a business like the fitness studio or like a school or a team or any market where people
Yeah.
really wear that logo as a badge of honor, they're proud and they represent that they're a part of something, and they want to talk about it, right? And I guess like when I think about the name of your apparel decoration business, I just love it because it says that right in the name, Brag Swag,
Yes.
right? And so how how have you found apparel and merchandise from Brag Swag being able to feed opportunities with this studio where people want to be a part of this community?
Yes, I'm so glad you said that, because as you were saying that, it was turning over in my mind that, what you said about people, when they love something, they want to show that, and they want to, let other people know, like, hey, I identify with this business or team or sport or school or whatever the case may be. And that's what Brag Swag is all about, showing that you are into whatever it may be. And in this case, it's, Dazzling Diva Fitness, pole fitness, aerial fitness. And people really are keen to, like you said, to show that and, to represent when they're out about in their daily lives, as well as to wear it while they're in the studio doing their workouts. So, it was just kind of a coincidental but very natural kind of going hand in hand between, hey, I have this business that makes swag, and now I have a business that needs swag. So it was just very fluid how that happened. And so the way I operate it is going into having the fitness studio, there was an existing logo. And they had rebranded not terribly long before I took over. So I didn't feel any urgency or need really to change this logo. I feel that it's a nice, clean logo. It very clearly identifies what the business is. So really it was just, starting to offer that logo merchandise, tank tops, muscle shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, so the way I do it is I basically have a pop-up seasonally. Like I'll do a fall winter one where I offer, always have the things they can wear during their workout. But, in the fall winter, I'll offer hoodies and pullover sweatshirts and zip up hoodies and, all kinds of like joggers and things like that. So, they're coming into the studio, they're decked out from head to toe. They've got their hoodie on, which I'm wearing one right now. They've got their joggers on, and then underneath that, they have their tank top on. So it's pretty cool. And then, spring, summer is when I typically will debut like newer styles that they can wear warmer weather. I did hats for the first time this past,
Nice.
last pop up we did. And I'm also looking into getting into doing some like duffel bag type of things for people to carry their things back and forth to class. So I feel like there are more opportunities that I have not tapped into yet.
Okay. And so why the pop-up versus a long-standing store? I think I know why, but I want to hear it from you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great question. And I feel like first and foremost, it's just a matter of space. My space is largely compromised of the areas where the workouts actually happen. And then we do have a small lobby, but I've got a refrigerator with water, and I've got a shoe cubby, and there's really just not a lot of space to have merch out constantly. But in addition to that, I feel that having like these certain designated pop-up times kind of helps to build the excitement around it. It's like, people start asking when they know it's getting close, like, hey, when are we going to do some swag? So I feel like that also increases, the clientele's level of interest in the merchandise, and they know there's probably going to be a new design in addition to the logo stuff that we always have. They know there's probably going to be at least one or two new styles, new colors. So I think there is a certain excitement around it, and the urgency is there as well, because you're saying, okay, I'm going to take orders for 2 weeks and then that's it. So
Yeah, I love this as a big takeaway for our listening audience, because I think it's important that everybody understands that in this conversation, as Melissa explained, she's wearing two hats, right? And so let's take it from the studio owner first, or the retailer, and this could be any retailer. What we heard is that, she had never had a physical space, and that physical space comes with a cost. And so it's very valuable to the primary goal of the business. In this case, it's very valuable to the workout space and maximizing that. And so if you go into, let's just say, a brewery even, or a restaurant, like, or a retailer, they have to use their space for their primary goal. And so the pop-up is a great way for them to be able to have branded merchandise to kind of connect their community, have some excitement, have people to come and see what's the latest in the space without committing square footage all year. And honestly, like, I've been into a lot of different retail businesses or shops in different markets. And when you walk by that same t-shirt every day on your way to your workout, eventually you don't even see it anymore, right? You don't see that thing anymore.
Exactly.
And so the pop-up says, look, right? New.
Yep.
And does create that. And so I love that from, like, when we're selling as an apparel decorator, a pop-up is a great opportunity for you to go out and you to capture business. And now, you're pre-printing stuff, or you're printing on demand at the pop-up, or a little bit of both?
So I'm printing it on demand. a nice thing too is that it helps to drive traffic to my website because all orders are placed through my website for Brag Swag.
Nice.
So yeah, hopefully while they're there, they take a peek around at some other things as well. But it's always good for generating traffic too. And then it means that I'm not sitting on anything that's already printed that I don't have an immediate buyer for.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's smart as well. So are you just like showcasing the looks there and they actually go online to buy them and have them delivered at the end of the pop-up period?
Yep, that's exactly what I do. So we were talking before we went live about the grids, and I actually have a section of grids that I keep in the closet at the studio. So when it's time for the pop-up, I drag that out into the lobby, and whatever pieces are going to be available, I hang them up there so the clients can see the colors, they can feel them. Like that was particularly important this past pop-up because I had a new cropped hoodie style, and I would build hype also in our private Facebook group and on our social media accounts and say, oh, this is so soft. You can come into the studio and feel it for yourself. So I think it definitely, like you said, it eliminates that kind of blindness that people develop if something is just there in their space all the time. They know to look for it and they know it's only going to be there for a certain amount of time.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. So for those that may have joined late, we're broadcasting live here. You could be listening to the recording wherever you listen to podcasts on fitness merchandise opportunities, joined by Milissa from Brag Swag, who is on her way to becoming a serial entrepreneur that we've established that. And we're live. So for those joining live, we love your questions. A lot of times they're better than my questions. And so ask your questions, share your ideas. Because that's what this show is all about, is helping you grow your business with sharing other apparel decorators' stories. So, Milissa, some other things that I think about when I think about decorating fitness merchandise. I mean, tees and fleece, those are pretty straightforward, but you mentioned some of the workout gear. And so you have to be getting into some like unique fabrications and how are you solving some of these challenges?
So I'm still experiencing one of those challenges. I'll tell you, two challenges that I've run into. One, a lot of us wear shorts to work out, but they're fitted and they're like a stretchy, usually like a spandex or lycra type of material. And it has been very hard to source those through my usual suppliers. They just don't seem to really, they just don't seem to be out there. I don't know, unless I'm looking in the wrong places. So I'm probably going to need to lean more towards dance studio supply retailers. If anybody has any suggestions on those, I'm all ears. So there's that. And then our literal favorite tank top has been discontinued. And you would not think that this would be so hard to find a replacement for, but let me tell you. So am I allowed to mention specific brands here?
Oh yeah, please do. Yep.
Okay, so the next level racerback tank, it was like a spandex blend. It was so great. Everybody loved the fit. It was nice and fitted for working out. I mean, it was just perfect all around. It took the printing very well. It wore well. And there is literally nothing out there that I can find that is even close. It's just so strange to me that something like that would be discontinued in the first place and that there wouldn't be suitable replacements. So again, if anybody has any suggestions on that, I would love to hear them.
Yeah, we have definitely some people that feel you pain. So where we don't have a solution, we at least like to let you know that some people are in the same boat. Yes. And so Mike says, yeah, lack of, so I know many of our friends on the Blank Apparel Wholesalers listen or watch this show as well. And so let's get some more fitness and exercise apparel
into
the lines. You know, one of my favorite things that we do as a company is the NFL Combine. And we see huge business there for like compression. And so a lot of the heat transfers out there can be pressed and can stretch, but the product has to be available from the Blank wholesale channels for you to really capitalize on it, right?
Yep. So that's been, I'll tell you, I was purchasing for a custom client for Brag Swag recently, and it seemed like one of my suppliers had like the very end of that particular tank top, like what was left in their inventory. So I scooped them up because I was like, well, this may be the last ones I ever get. So I'm just going to get whatever they have.
Yeah, yeah, supply and demand, right? Market things
Yeah,
up. So we do
yeah.
have a question coming in for you or me, but I'll let you take first crack at it. So any tips for pressing
Mm.
on 100% poly? Are you doing some 100% polyester items with decoration?
N- No, there's zero demand for that at my studio because the type of equipment we use, we don't really want any slick materials.
Okay.
That being said, on the side of my business that is not tied into my fitness studio, like typically when we go to say something like the Pittsburgh Marathon, we will offer 100% polyester because there seems to be two schools in running: people who want polyester and people who don't. So we offer both. I guess I would have a question back, and more specifically, what is the problem that they're
Yeah.
having?
Well, I know generally with polyester, first thing you want to think about is adhesion. And I would say 99%
Scorching.
of the products on the market will actually adhere. But then you're right, scorching
Mm,
becomes a concern because some products, while they will adhere, they press at 365 degrees
right.
and it damages
That's a
the
problem.
fabric.
Right.
And so I would recommend people look at the products that are out there in heat transfer, something that presses at 300 degrees or less. And there
Mhm.
are
Yep.
many choices that fit that category. And then really, are you expecting any performance out of your polyester? Do you need it to stretch? Right. And then that's going to
Right.
further reduce your choices down. But I love, like on the NFL combine stuff, we're using Ultra Color Max, which is
Nice.
the direct to film transfer. It's a great solution. Elastiprints is another one we've seen a lot in the sports market on poly, which is a screen printed
Cool.
transfer. So yeah, and then really the specific issue here from watch silly plants watching on YouTube is the creasing or the scorching.
Mm. Mhm.
I just published a video. If you're watching on YouTube, you probably are on our Stahls TV YouTube channel by chance. If you go back just a couple weeks ago, I have a video on how to eliminate or reduce scorching. It's like a 5-minute watch. So I would point you
Ooh,
towards that. Maybe somebody can
that's
share it in the
super
links as
valuable,
well.
Josh. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's super valuable.
All right. So startup tip. I love this. So totally new to the business. Thanks for watching. Already have everything. How do I start capturing
Wow.
clients? Any tips? Any website uh, to visit? So I know you're already committed, but I would start figuring out the clients before you invest in the equipment. But since you already
Mhm.
have the equipment, like how do we go and find our first customer? Do you have any tips?
Ooh, man.
If you let me put it more specific, you're selling to your fitness studio today, which obviously you're connected to both. If you
Yeah,
were to go out and try to sell to another new client fitness studio in another county or area, how would you start that conversation? No, wearing your business owner hat, what would be
that's a
valuable?
great question, Josh. I think I would definitely go in with some product samples. I think people want to see not only the quality of the products you're offering, but the quality of your work. So, if for example, if you are, let's say, thinking about approaching fitness studios as clients in your area, I would make up some samples of some nice quality um, styles. Honestly, you might want to. I'd be curious to hear your take on this too, Josh. I'm the type that's going to probably lead with the nicest, but if you're worried about getting pricing objections, maybe you take two options, like a better and a best.
Yeah, I like good, better, best. I firmly believe in
Hmm.
no more than three options, but even
For
better if you can
sure.
be so specific and get to two because you just eliminate
Yeah,
choice and that helps you get to a yes quicker.
absolutely.
And then
I
I would
find even, I'm sorry,
good.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Hey, you're the guest. I'm going to let you go.
Oh,
Share it. I'm here
I'm
every
sorry. I was
week.
just going to say, and I think you will echo this, and you've pretty much already said as much. Sometimes if you give too many choices, people are paralyzed and they can't make a decision. So I think if you can eliminate as many choices as possible on the front end, you're saving yourself some objections later.
Yeah, 1000%. And then the other thing, if I'm trying to attract a new client, samples are a tool in the toolbox. Really think about who you want to talk to inside of that business. So it's not just
Hmm.
the target market that you want to reach, it's the person inside of that business that you want to talk to because that person has certain pain points in their job and has
Right.
certain potential opportunities. And you want to be able to speak so specific. If it's a small business owner, you want to talk their language and talk about the outcome that decorated apparel delivers rather than just, hey, these are
Exactly.
products. But no, what we're trying to do is we've seen other fitness studios be very successful and have longevity by building a community. There are many ways to building a
Yes.
community. One way is through branded merchandise. And here's how we approach it through seasonal pop-up shops that let you accomplish the goal while keeping your space free to keep it a fitness studio.
Right. I think that's a really good point that you make, Josh, is who's the decision maker in the business, and, recognizing that just like every person in business, ourselves included, time is valuable. So, when you go to approach these potential clients, how can you anticipate what their concerns are going to be, and how can you have solutions ready on hand to show them, what are your talking points going to be? How can you make it very succinct so that, again, you're mindful of their time and addressing, you know, how, like you said, Josh, how the branded merchandise is going to build their community. It's also going to advertise their business out in the community at large. When, this person who's wearing your business's logo goes into the grocery store and someone's standing in line behind them waiting, they're staring at this person's back for 5 minutes. They're seeing your logo, and
Yeah.
addressing, it's going to bring additional profit into their business, with very little, additional effort on their part, other than, saying, hey, this is what we want to order. How soon can you have it for us?
Awesome. So let me recap this really tightly for the question. I think it's Katia or Katia that asked it. So she's totally new, has what she needs to start capturing clients. Any tips? So the succinct tips are: first, identify the target market that you are most equipped to reach. Like Milissa, if you can make it something that you know and you're passionate about, even better. So find that target market and go deep into that target market, not wide across many types of customers. And then within that target market, find the person and their job role that you want to speak with, their pains, their gains, create an offer, and then go out and try that offer on 10 clients, right? Have it buttoned up, good, better, best, or better, best. Have the
Mm-hmm.
decorated samples, have the pricing ready to go, and try to win those first 10 clients and collect feedback, because it is not going to be perfect and you are going to have to refine it, but you have to
Yep.
try it. Otherwise, you just keep paying the bills and not bringing any money, right?
That's so true. I think you just encapsulated that all so perfectly, Josh. I mean, and that's, regardless of what stage you are in your business, I think that's advice we can all use. You're constantly refining. If you ever think you've stopped learning, then maybe it's time to get out of business, to be honest.
Yeah, and speaking of refining and kind of like getting outside of the business but working on the business, we were talking
Hmm.
earlier. You're heading out to a big show with us at the end of the month.
Can't
Out
wait.
at
Yeah, so
yeah,
excited.
out at Impressions Atlantic City. So for those who may not be familiar with the trade show circuit, these conventions are apparel decoration specific. They're called the Impression Shows. Is one show that we attend. That's the one in Atlantic City. You can go to Stahls page, look under events, get all the details. But why is it so valuable to you to go out to a trade show? What's been your experience there, and why are you going back?
Oh my goodness. It's just, I feel like if you're like me, it's easy to get stuck in your basement, working by yourself, and, forgetting that there are other people out there who are doing the same thing as you. And it's so good and valuable and important to talk to other people who are experiencing the same struggles, challenges, successes that you are, to learn from each other, to learn from industry experts, to see those suppliers, what new products they're bringing to the market. Try things out. Like, when I bought my hat press at the last show, I was actually able to try it out right there on site. So it wasn't like, well, let me just order something off the internet that I bring home and try to set up and hope that I got it right and see what happens. When you're making that kind of investment, it's really nice to be able to see it in action and to actually try it for yourself. So the education, I mean, the investment that you have to make financially to attend the expo is, I every dollar counts when you're a small business owner, but I feel like it's an accessible investment and it's well worth it. You're going to walk away with so much knowledge, education, new tips and tricks, just, making connections and having the opportunity to talk to other people in the field. It's just, you can't, it's something that you can't underestimate, the significance of that.
Yeah, and if you've never been to a trade show, thanks to our team that links some of our events in the various places for those that are watching live. For those that are listening, I'll do the shortest one. You can go to stahls.com, which is stahls.com/events, and get our schedule. And most of those events, if you call into our customer service teams or email us, odds are, if you're not a complete procrastinator and wait till the last possible day, we can get you free access passes to at least
Oh,
get
nice.
into the show. You
That's
will still have
awesome.
to pay for for the education, which I recommend people do. Once you're there, sign up for some classes. These shows do a great job of
Absolutely.
putting on education.
And it's,
So,
where else can you go and get access to so many educational opportunities in one place at one time? It's just, by the time you leave, you're going to just be overflowing with ideas and things that you want to try in your business. I know I was.
yep. And my caution for people is if this is your first show, start with clarity on who you want your customer to be and
Yes.
what they value. Everything we've talked about so far in this episode, if you go to a trade show with no idea, you're going to end up with spending your complete budget, whatever that is, on equipment that you're not really sure if it serves your customer. So when you go in with clarity on the customer, now I can not only make the right investment decisions in equipment and transfers, but I can walk into a blank wholesaler's booth. And Milissa, when you walk in, I bet you'll be looking for a specific item or two that we just
Yes,
talked
I
about,
will. Yes,
right?
I
And
will.
so people need to
Absolutely.
go in with that knowledge to get their product assortment and their offer right and button it up. That's the opportunity.
That's so smart,
So
Josh. Absolutely. Button it up. I like that. I mean, don't make things more complicated than they need to be, and don't spend money where you don't need to.
yeah, I'm sure. Like, and that's a good point. And so a couple things I like to think about, and your story tells it all. Like you've kept Brag Swag, presumably as a very lean home-based business, right? Because
Oh
it could
yeah.
be, and it didn't need the retail space. But a
Right.
lot of decorators would really aspire to have this brick and mortar retail space as almost like a symbol as they made it, right? But
Yeah.
how's that? It's a whole different picture on the overhead and the monthly bills, I imagine, between the two
Oh
businesses.
yeah. For sure. And I think, you and I briefly touched on before we went live. A challenge of mine is balancing my time and attention between the two businesses because, of course, the one that has more overhead is going to be more urgent. Like, I got to make sure the rent gets paid. I got to make sure my instructing team gets paid, all those things. So, um, that's something that I continue to work on is the time management and making sure that Brag Swag is getting, as my other child, Brag Swag is getting, an equal part of my time and attention. But um, yeah, it's just if money were no object, I would love to have a brick and mortar for sure. Just because, I'm an artist and merchandising is so awesome to me, and I just love creating a visual experience.
Yeah.
Not that you can't do that on your e-commerce store because you certainly can, but I personally get a lot of joy from creating physical displays. So I'm definitely looking forward to being able to do that at some events this year. But maybe one day, Brag Swag will have that. Right now, I just don't feel that it's necessary or something that is a wise use of my resources.
Yeah, it's good. But it's good that you have clarity in that decision. Now, I want to make sure we get to this as we're coming up on the end of our time here. So if you guys have last minute questions for Milissa, we have her on the show. Make sure you ask her, type them in. We'll make sure we get them up in front of us to answer. But I wanted to make sure we talk a little bit because you're coming. I'm not from Pittsburgh, but I'm south of Pittsburgh. So it's about the closest city to me.
Yep.
You're coming to Pittsburgh for a pretty big
Woo!
event, the marathon,
Yes.
right?
Yes, that is our plan. We are in the process of selecting our booth space. So We have attended numerous times in the past, but of course, COVID hit and there were a couple of years there that we didn't go. We were hoping to go last year, but unfortunately, staffing was an issue because of some conflicts. So it's not really a situation where you can run a booth with two people, one of whom needs to be operating the press the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So we just felt like it was better if we sat it out until this year when we knew we would be covered with a team. But yeah, that's what we're looking towards, and we're super excited because we have our hat press, and we definitely want to bring some new and exciting merch to the runners.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you thought, you obviously have with the hat press, but like your product assortment and what that will look like coming out of the booth? Have you gotten that far with it yet?
Yeah, so I mean, it's really pretty easy because, runners want shirts. I mean, I can tell you I'm married to a runner. It doesn't matter if they have 300, they still want the next shirt from that race or from that city or, whatever the case may be. So, we will deal primarily in shirts. We'll have something for everyone in terms of styles, materials. We'll offer quite a few different designs. So, we like to allow folks to kind of customize, because we do print on site the majority of it. That is
Mhm.
something that we didn't do initially, but we decided that we would go that route, and it was a good decision. Folks can see the different styles and materials that are available, see the different designs, and say, okay, I want that design on that shirt, make it happen. So I feel like that's just another, for folks listening, that might be something. Can you offer that to your clients if you do events and you're printing on site? Can you let them have a little more say in the combination of, design and style, or, basically how can you make it as attractive to them as possible?
Yeah, I really like that because you have made that into a customer benefit, which I trust that it is. But
Yes,
it's also a very big benefit to you as a business owner with keeping your inventory very flexible, right?
you
And not
said it.
pre-committing.
Yes,
So
yes. Yeah,
it's
because
good.
that's a lesson we learned in the past. You're going in and you don't, well, we don't want to be in a situation where we don't have enough, but then you end up with too many and you're bringing all this stuff back home, and you gotta try to sell to the audience that's in front of you while you're there interfacing with them. So
Awesome. We have a question coming in. I'm not sure if you'll
okay,
know this, but I do. Have you ever looked at the A to Z heat press at all? Probably not. You
I
have
have
a
not.
Hotronics, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll take this one. So Crystal asks, is the A to Z a good heat press? So the A to Z is a brand name of a heat press machine sold by Stahls and Transfer Express. What is the cost? Also, where can I get one to buy? So it is a good press. I would say it's a 15 by 15 inch press. And so you'll be able to do most graphics that you want to do, but you'll obviously want 16 by 20 inches. The most popular heat press on the market gives you the most flexibility. But if your budget's $1,000 or less, it's a great machine that's supported and sold by Stahls companies. It's a swing away. And I'd probably venture to
Nice.
say, other than an air press, it's one of the easiest presses to lock down on the market that's out there. So if you budget were no issue, and you wanted like the best manual press, I'd recommend a Hotronics Autoclam or a Hotronics Fusion. You
Yeah.
probably have one of them, right? Do you
The
have
autoclam. Yeah.
the Autoclam? Yes, I love the
Hmm.
Autoclam or the Fusion. But if you're on a little tighter budget and need to get to revenue and payoff on something portable, the A to Z is a really nice machine. Actually, I just looked at one, and that was one of our top selling units during COVID because so many people were starting t-shirt businesses from home, and the A to Z help people to do that at a great scale. So it's accurate. I don't want to say it's a starter machine and that it won't produce quality results, but it is not as feature rich or as large as the premium and Hotronics machines once you get really the business going and established.
Good to know. And if your business grows down the road, then it's not a bad thing to have two presses. There will be instances where you have a large order and you need to have two presses going so you can turn it around. So
Well, that really
if it's a
surprised me when we launched that press. We had some of our largest customers buying that press, and I'm like, why?
really,
Like these people own like 6 Hotronics machines. Why are they buying an A to
wow.
Z? And what the sales folks told me is they needed something small and portable that somebody
Mm-hmm.
would, like most people, most average build people, male or female, would be able to lift and take out and place on a table at an event,
That's
right?
great to know, actually.
So made it a lot easier. So we're rounding out our time together for this episode. Milissa, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We shared a
Thank
ton
you,
of
Josh.
valuable tips in this episode, and who knows, I'm sure we'll have you on again sometime soon.
I hope so. I will look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much for having me today, Josh. I can't believe the time's up already. That was so much fun. It just flew by.
It goes fast when you're having fun. Thanks so much. We'll talk
Yes,
again
it does.
soon. All right.
Thank you.
For our viewing audience, thanks so much for watching today. If you are listening to this after the fact, make sure you head over and join our Heat Press for Profit Facebook community, or follow us on our Transfer Express or Stahls All Things Heat Printing Facebook pages, even on YouTube on Stahls TV, or on LinkedIn on Stahls. We are not hard to find, and you can join us live on this broadcast. Sometimes there's a visual element that you can see on the video as we broadcast, or just ask your questions live. That's worth it alone. We've taken a lot of questions today, hopefully shared some advice in the process. Make sure you join us next week for another episode of Heat Press for Profit. Until then, have a great weekend. Thanks so much.